Hey everyone, welcome back to Saurabh Dubey. I'm Saurabh Dubey, your co-guide for cracking tech interviews and leveling up your career. If you're dreaming of landing a Java backend role or any other software engineering role at Deloitte India, whether you are a fresher or with some years of experience, stick around because today I've got something special for you. So let me tell you about everything Deloitte and how they hire, what are the major roles that they are hiring, and some of the interview questions that will be very specific to Java and backend roles. So Deloitte India hiring process, uh, it is around if you are a fresher, basically you go through online test. There'll be coding and aptitude kind of test, which is around 60 to 90 minutes. Then you will have problems from these kind of topics, which includes aptitude, logical reasoning, verbal ability, and some of the coding problems. Sometimes college wise they prefer AMCAT or similar kind of CoCubes kind of platforms, right? Then there is GD kind of stuff in the college hiring I'm talking about. But if you are applying outside the college, it will start basically from the fourth round, where there will be technical rounds, one, two, three rounds, up to three rounds they take actually. Then there will be HR final round, 20-30 minutes of discussion. That is basically they check the personality, cultural fit kind of stuff, right? Then successful candidates will receive an offer letter. So the process may slightly based on the role experience level, campus versus off-campus hiring. For senior roles, recent off-campus drives start from step 4. Okay, as I explained earlier, right? So that is directly from the technical rounds. Okay, so the major roles that they hire actually, business technology analyst, right? Technology analyst kind of stuff. But our focus today is around the Java developer software engineering roles, also some of the consultant roles where they are Java consultant roles, right? So we will be discussing those things. Also senior software engineer when they hire, this is basically around Java, Spring Boot, microservices and design patterns, right? So these roles they are actively hiring right now. If you go and see their LinkedIn page, you will find a lot of jobs for these roles. Okay, now comes these are not, they don't ask very hard type of questions or during the interview, but there are variety of questions they ask from different tech stacks, and through this video, this section, I'll cover most of them. So in this section we will discuss actually the major questions asked by Deloitte India in recent times. It is very specific to Java backend roles and senior software engineering kind of roles, right? Even for freshers software engineering roles, this will be very helpful. So topics that I've chosen actually, some of the basic information I've given, like from where I've taken questions from the different platforms. I've also talked some of the students who is actually working at Deloitte India, right? And I've tried to get their experience and what questions they have shared. I've tried to include all these through this video, right? Then comes these topics actually what you will be getting here. A lot of questions on around DBMS, Java, Spring Boot and Spring. Then there will be questions of from design patterns, data structures and algorithms, microservices, REST APIs, and there'll be around 50 plus questions, which is must practice before your next interview, right? So let me open. I'll not able to tell you or show you every question from these topics, but I'll just show you the flow of the document, how I have documented these questions, right, and how you can utilize in a very better way actually. So pick one topic at a time, go through the questions. If you are confused of any of the problems, right, Google it, understand in depth, because they also have around discussions around these questions actually. So DBMS, the basic things you will find, and this is most important. I would say it is relevant to any software engineering or Java backend kind of roles, right? Any company. But these were recently asked, very specific to Deloitte. Difference between primary key and foreign key, right? Then very important question, explain normalization and its forms, right? 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, right? And differences kind of. This is a very generous question for most of the companies actually. You come some of the interesting problems where they discuss around deadlocks, how you can prevent it in the database, right? Very common questions around, you say 90% of the companies ask this problem. Write SQL query to find second highest salary from an employee table, right? So this kind of queries you must know. So I've given kind of some of the queries actually, right? Then okay, Very important question comes around indexes and how you can improve the performance of the database. So basic discussion, some of the concepts already given here. Then there are questions around the joins, which is very common. I think you must know. Acid properties, there will be solid discussions you must go through. Also, try to get more resources on the acid properties, right? How does clustered index different from non-clustered index, right? You must know difference performance wise, right? So you will get the sufficient information to at least tackle these kind of questions in the interviews, right? Then write query to retrieve duplicate records from a table. A very genuine questions. A lot of times it has been asked, right? What is transaction and how do you ensure its consistency? Okay, so these are very specific questions actually, and very common questions irrespective of the companies. Yeah, be it Deloitte, Accenture, or L&T, all these companies have these problems, right? So this was around up to I've shown you around 11 problems, but it contains around in DBMS section itself, it has around 23 problems with the similar kind of explanation and examples, right? So this was about DBMS, how I've documented, and this will surely help you go through this, understand complete topics. Now let me show you the Java, similar Java also, right? So it will also have around 23 questions, some of the like object-oriented principles, difference between abstract and interface is very important question, irrespective of the companies. What is purpose of static keyword in Java? Okay, I've given try to give a small code snippet, right, so that you understand it better way. Sometimes yeah, you explain the theoretical concepts, right? At the same time, they will ask you to, can you write the code for the same, right? So you must know the code as well. So you will find the code here in this document. Basic difference and between equal to and the equals method, right? Here also you can explain with the examples actually. Explain the exception hierarchy in Java, very important, right? Exception is a very important. Go through very depth around the exception and multi-threading. Some of the questions I've tried to list here. Write program to find out the factorial of a number using recursion. So similar questions you will see exactly 23 or 20 problems in this section as well. So there are 23 actually. Okay. So next comes the Springboard. Similar you will get around uh, I would say 23 problems, right? And very important, very latest problems, right? You must know these if you're going for a Deloitte interview. Do not miss, do not take chance to miss these problems. Okay, and if you're covering these problems, for sure I would say 85% you are done. Now 15% is your confidence and on the spot your mindset, how you are tackling the problems. Then comes the design patterns, a lot of questions. Obviously there will be a lot of questions from design patterns, right? So similar, you will get very important questions. Describe the command pattern, its benefits, right? How does proxy pattern enhance security or performance? Very important. Sometimes people don't know these things, but these are very specific to job roles that you will be getting in these companies, right? What is template method pattern and where it is used? Explain the composite pattern and the coding example. As I explained to you, you must know the code snippets as well. What is the chain of responsibility pattern, right? So very interesting problems I've tried to find out in these sections. Similar, you get around 22 problems. Then comes the data structure algorithms, similar problems, very generous problems. It's one of the section where most of us get stuck, but these problems will surely help you to crack it easily. So DSA will have also around 23 problems. Very important, microservices, a lot of problems from the microservices. I've tried to explain it, and then I'll show you one of the interesting thing about this document. So with example, I've also tried to explain these answers, right? So that you understand it better way and you can tackle any questions around it. Even if they are framing around these topics, you can answer these problems, right? Then comes REST API, very important problems. A lot of questions they will ask from these topic, right? Very important. So you will get all those typical, uh, I would say, little complex problems you will see here, and if you're covering it, for sure it will be plus for you. So this was about the questions that were asked. Now comes the very interesting part. What must you practice before your next interview? If you have your interview for the Deloitte, what are the questions that you should know? These are for sure you must know. because these were recently asked and repeated in recent interviews, right? Then comes the must practice before your interviews. So this section alone has around 50 plus problems, right? So I'll just show you few of the problems that you can utilize. How would you design a database schema for a scalable microservice based on the inventory system, right? Now you must know this concept, then how you'll design the schema. Very important. So I've tried to explain it here, then scalability, practical examples, right? Practical examples here you will find in terms of Deloitte. So Deloitte's enterprise focus requires independent, scalable schemas with robust data integrity, right? And this is their example actually. This is how practically they needed things, right? That's why you will see these generous questions. So these 50 problems actually prepared on the basis of how Deloitte works and what are the problems their managers expect actually, right? So a lot of research has been done around these problems. How do you implement thread safe counter in Java without using synchronized blocks, right? In these problems, you will see very important pattern. At the end, I have tried to list Deloitte context, how it is useful for Deloitte, right? So that's why you must know these problems. So mid-level engineers are expected to optimize concurrency, right? This is very important. So that's why in terms of Deloitte, I've tried to explain. I'll show you the problems. Then Deloitte context. Performance optimization is key for enterprise REST API. So this is again very important section you must know before your interviews, right? I hope you have understood the importance of this document. I've already listed a form link in the description of this video. You can easily get this document, and all the best for your interviews. I hope you can crack it. Also, there is another master document for which you get the video link in the description. Also, if you want to get the master document which covers a lot of concept apart from the questions, right? And that document also covers around 20 plus company specific problems. So a must document that you should get. You can get that also, and if you're covering both, I would say 95% you are done with your interviews. Rest is obviously there might be some problems where they twist a little, but if you have understanding of the topic, you can tackle easily, right? So you can get both the document, the link I've given in the description, and all the best for your interviews.